Hello and welcome to today's podcast. We are the Forgotten Truth, and today we're going to be talking about Biden and what he's done to this country since his election, and if his promises are still kept up to today. Now, he was inaugurated 2 years ago, right? January 20th, he was inaugurated, and he had a lot of promises for his qualities for his election, right? And so one of them was trying to slow down COVID, which he's done right now, but in those years, a year ago of that year, 2021, he didn't do. It was going up, going back down, going up, and he tried to increase vaccination, the percentage of vaccinations, which he did, but the vaccine isn't working because these people are still getting the same COVID, and because the vaccine is supposed to prevent you from getting sick. Mm-hmm. And what are some other things that he wanted to do?
So he also promised that he would pretty much fix border problems. He hasn't done that at all.
Very recently, he opened up the borders.
He put our vice president in charge of the borders. She hasn't fixed it. She hasn't really done anything with it, and they're worse than ever. Yep. How do you feel about that?
Joe Biden, took away Title 14. If you don't know what that is, it closed the border of U.S. and Mexico, and because he took that away, they're coming into this country. Now, Greg Abbott, the governor of Texas, he's doing a very good job about taking care of that. He does not want these illegals in his state, so he is taking them, putting them on buses, as many as he can. Of course, he can't get all of them, but he's putting on these buses and sending them to the Capitol so they can take care of it, which is I think is a very good idea, because he does not want his crap in his state.
I think it feels a little bit childish to kind of just say, I'm going to just send all the... It's like a protest, but I feel like a protest shouldn't be with human beings and sending them on buses.
How is that a protest?
He's protesting the president. He's saying, if you're not going to solve this by yourself, then I'm just gonna send all of them to you.
He's not saying that. He said he does not want them in. He doesn't want the illegals in his state, and because he opened up the border, he's sending them to him. That's not a protest. He's taking care of the problem.
Well, he's kind of protesting what Biden wanted, and protesting.
Yeah, but he's taking care of it like he should be. Now, another problem was electric vehicles. He wants a lot more electric. He wanted a lot more electric vehicles. Us from switching from gas to electric, and it's increasing now because of gas inflation, and people are buying electric cars that don't run on gasoline. So because it's cheaper. Now, he has done that.
It's not him though. He has had no effect on that.
His administration.
It's not but it's not like they're controlling the prices of private companies and businesses. He's not making the cars cheaper, because really that's the main...
I didn't say that.
No, I know, but he isn't really doing anything to make electric vehicles cheaper. And the main reason people are buying electric vehicles is because of the cost of the car itself, not because it's electric. Some people don't believe in electric vehicles, even though most likely it's going to be the future. We're not going to have gas cars in probably 100 years.
I do not believe in electric vehicles.
Why not?
God created oil for us to use it, and if that's in cars, that's what it's supposed to be doing. We are a gas guzzling country. We drive cars. We use it for energy, and he's trying to stop all of that. We're trying to go to renewable. Renewable energy is a very good thing, but we shouldn't be taking away oil.
But you can also argue that God gave us electricity and God gave us this planet, and yeah, we can use oil, and we shouldn't just stop using oil altogether, but we have to slowly but surely get off of oil.
Do.
Yeah. That is a good thing, but he's not doing it slowly. He's just kind of he's just full on stabbing that problem and saying that we're just going to cut oil. By what he's done with the fracking, how we can't frack on federal lands, he kind of broke that promise, but his fracking issues and everything he's done with oil,
Yeah. Now, gas prices have gone up an exponential amount since Trump, and that is because of his decrease in fracking, his expulsion of fracking.
And the war in Ukraine.
That is a very big problem. We talked about that on our last podcast. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's about Elon Musk buying Twitter and him being in charge of the economy. Now, what's another problem?
So another problem with Biden is that some would say that he is mentally incapable of his position. Do you think he is?
Absolutely not. He cannot speak. He cannot form a sentence without someone in his ear talking to him. He is being controlled by his administration. He does not have anything. He has a lot to do with it, which is why they're trying to control him. He cannot form a sentence. He has dementia.
It's hard to believe that while he was running for president during his campaign, he had countless moments of where he would just say the most random stuff that didn't make any sense, and they still voted for him. He said, one time, he said that if you are black and if you vote for Trump, then you're not black. I don't know how he can get away with saying something that racist. Do you? It's completely...
But that's the thing. The percentage of the blacks in this country have switched to Democrats because of the George Floyd incident, with like the white supremacist movement that they've quote unquote put on the Republican side, which is nothing. And so I just think that is stupid because and he's tried to decrease the racism in this country. It's not really a problem anymore, but that we know of. It's switched to Ukraine and Russia, whichever is going on right now in the highest amount of popularity is that's what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But.
Like how when the whole Ukraine crisis started happening, you notice how COVID seems to not become a problem anymore. The numbers went down, and that's just because of its natural course where it's going to go away eventually. But the second something more pressing happened, Biden and his administration and the people in charge just kind of were like, oh yeah, COVID's still here, but it's not a problem anymore. How do you feel about that?
We're always going to have a disease, and it was actually time. Our last gigantic...
Weren't we like 200 years late to having a world pandemic?
We were right on time. We had a gigantic outbreak in the 1920s, and then or around that time, and then 100 years.
Was that the Spanish flu?
Yeah, 100 years from that, we have another one, and it's supposed to be like that. That's the world.
Natural selection.
Yep. Now, what's another problem?
So, one of the biggest problems, we already mentioned it, but gas prices. Americans are getting hit harder than ever by these gas prices. In California, some gas stations are up to $6.50 a gallon. Here, we are lucky because we're on the lower end. We're at about $4 a gallon, which is still outrageous because if you go back 2 years ago, we were seeing $1.86. That's the lowest I've seen it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's insane.
Mm-hmm. And another problem is that inflation in general. He is not taking responsibility for that. At the beginning of Ukraine and Russia, like the war in Ukraine, with that gigantic surge in inflation, everything was going up. He blamed Putin and what he was doing that. Biden blames anybody but himself because he wants to be reelected. He wants to win re-election.
It's all part of a political agenda.
It is. And
really, every president has a political agenda, and you can't argue not. Because everybody wants to become president again.
Mm-hmm. But what are you gonna do about it? Because we're not gonna be able to impeach him because so far Democrats run Congress, run the House, run the Supreme Court,
mm-hmm.
and so unless the Republicans can take over in these midterm elections, then he's going to still be in here with his mental incapabilities. But that's a big problem we're seeing right now. Now, what else?
Do you think that Biden knows? Do you think he fully understands what is going on? Do you think he understands that inflation is on one of the highest rises it's ever been, that gas prices are at an all-time high? The average gas price in the U.S. is for like $4 a gallon. Do you think he knows that all these things are going on? And what do you think he's going to do about it?
He does know about it, but he just recently in a press conference, a reporter asked him, "Are you responsible for inflation?" And he said, "Our policies are doing good." And like, no, absolutely not.
If your policies that we're doing good, then why is there inflation?
That's what I'm saying. Like, inflation's at an all-time high. It's gas prices are per barrel are higher than what it was in 2008. It's like 100 and how much is it per gallon? 100 and,
Around 100 now.
100 around. It's just unbelievable. And gas prices in California are up past $6. Some places can be past $7. Like it's gonna get pretty bad. And
they're not doing anything about it.
They're not. They closed they opened the reserves, but that's just gonna produce more problems because we're not fracking anymore. But yeah.
I mean, what can you do? I mean, when people like that are running our nation, there's really not hopefully 2022 we take back everything. Hopefully. I mean that's the only thing that could be the saving grace for inflation and the different policies being passed. Now, do you think that his views on the LGBTQ community are justly right, or do you think they are a little bit off the schedule?
Absolutely not. I am very anti LGBTQ plus whatever it is. I am a Christian. Is men and women, and same thing with abortion. It's horrible. It is so bad. And Joe Biden claims to be a Catholic, and these other Catholics are pounding at him because of this recent Roe v. Wade with abortion, his gay rights opinions, and it's stupid.
There's been countless occasions where at schools, and even our school, where people of the LGBTQ community are just doing outrageous things and getting away with it just because they're part of the LGBTQ community. Mm-hmm. Do you think that is in any way, shape, or form?
No one is above the law. No one is above the law. Bill Clinton, Bill Clinton and his scandal. He was like, well, I'm president, so we're going to hold off this Supreme Court case. And no, absolutely not. We got him in there. And no one is above the law. But I mean, you can't really do anything, and especially with these riots going on in these towns. People are looting. The looting is a very big problem right now in like these little stores, little jewelry shops.
Crimes are an all-time high.
Horrible. And that's also because of Joe Biden's problem with gun control, or his problem with gun rights. He thinks that if there are more gun regulations, that's going to stop the criminals. Absolutely not.
They're the ones using the illegal
hilarious to me. The people that actually have permits and are using the guns correctly, that they have the right to do from the Second Amendment, their rights are being stripped. Mm-hmm. These criminals that use that as gun violence isn't going anywhere. It's actually going to rise because it's going to be harder to get a weapon, but they're just going to try harder to get more. And it's...
Now, another thing with crime is that during his campaign, he promised that he would defund the police. But really, he realized that once he became president and crime started going up, he said in a press conference that what we need to do is increase the budget and to not defund the police.
Mm-hmm. All the Democrats are saying that because they were all like...
They were all wrong.
They
only did that to gain votes.
They were all saying defund the police, and now they're saying that they need more money. They're like, oh, right, we didn't say that. We want them to have more money.
Now, for a final topic, do you think that Joe Biden actually won the election? Do you think he actually got the amount of votes he did?
No, absolutely not. After the election, there were ballots. They were everywhere. There were videos of post people, what were they called, mailmen, throwing it out the window, and they were just on the ground. It was horrendous how people can just take that, and also with these illegals being able to vote in some of these Democrat states because they don't need a photo ID. Joe Biden's trying to do something with that because he doesn't want them to have a photo ID, and it's just stupid. You need a photo ID because you need to be a citizen to vote.
Mm-hmm. That's all we got for you today on Forgotten Truth. We'll see you next time.